So what's a shitty or ugly, crappy car that I like, that I secretly like, that I shouldn't like, or I secretly want, I guess. It's kind of a hard one for me. I don't think I tend to like that crappy of cars, or ugly cars, although a lot of people would say the 914 is a little ugly, maybe the 928. And I love both of those cars, so, you know. But I think my choice is pretty clear cut for this. I've talked about it in the past. For some reason, I have a weird want for a Subaru Baja Turbo with a 5-speed manual. So that, for those of you that don't know, it's basically the Subaru Legacy. I think it's like I forget what year they started making them, maybe like 2000 or '02, and they made them until, I want to say like '07 or something, but they were the old body style at that point when the new body style was already out. And like the newer Subaru Legacy GTs already had the 6-speed manual and all that stuff, and they kept with the old body and they still had the 5-speed. And when I worked at Subaru, we sold them. And so I would get, so it's a Subaru Legacy with a truck bed on it. So basically a Brat or a El Camino style Subaru. So I could see myself buying one of those as like I don't know, actually, maybe I should buy one. Shoot. Maybe that would be a good car, because they are 4-doors still, so I can fit my kids in them. They have a little truck bed, so I can do little dump runs, little parts runs, stuff like that. And they're a turbo and a 5-speed manual, so they have some good pickup. I know they were pretty soft. I remember driving them. The brakes kind of sucked. I mean, they weren't great, and they rode a little soft, but hey, maybe I should buy one of those. So I would say a Subaru Baja pickup truck, but it would have to be a 5-speed manual and a turbo. So that's my choice for a crappy car that I yearn for or would like to have.
What's up, everybody? This is Warren answering a question about shitty cars we really love and kind of know we shouldn't. This one comes from the waft category, and I've always loved the big body Bentleys of the 90s, starting with like the Turbo R and leading up to the end of the era, which is right before the Continental GT. So my pick is the Continental T-based Sedanka. So that's a 2-door, short wheelbase, flares. I think it was 650 pound-feet of torque, 450 horsepower, something like that. Supercharged V8. A retractable, nope, not retractable, a removable glass roof. They only made 75 of them, something like that. Incredibly expensive, $400,000 or something ridiculous. On paper, it sounds pretty good, right? But pretty horrible cars. This was still like the old school British engineering. It was before the Germans had taken over. So plummets in value. Resale values are super, super low. They're pretty sketchy cars overall. We kind of all know that. But it's still very appealing. I don't think Sedankas are super cheap now, the SC, but a Turbo R, for example, is a $20,000 car. And there's plenty of reasons not to buy them, but I kind of secretly still want one. I don't know. So that's my pick. Shitty cars that I love. The Bentley Sedanka.
It's a hard question. I definitely hate is a strong word. It's very tough for me to find that number of cars that I really hate. You know, you have to actually like care about it. You know, there's a lot of cars that I just don't care about, but I don't necessarily hate them, and they're probably good at what they do. So this is a hard one for me. I don't really know. I came up with a short list of cars that were not very good, you know, have big flaws, but it's hard to say they're bad because, you know, a lot of them have like big enthusiast followings, like the Jeep Wrangler. I kind of want one of those, but as a car, it's kind of terrible. But a Jeep is a good car. It's good at what it does, even if a lot of people don't use it for that. Anyways, 56 Chevy came to mind. I'm just trying to think of stuff I have personal experience with, and it's like I like that car. I have the Forest one, but really, I don't know. That's kind of like, I like the idea of the car, but a mid-50s car today is terrible. It's not going to do anything well. What were some of the other ones? Range Rover Classic, but I mentioned that in all of my answers, so I'm going to skip that one. And I was trying to think of something really ugly that I kind of liked for the performance value, but I don't know. Maybe a new Corvette? My answer, a Mercedes Dodge Sprinter van. And it's actually a good van, right? But, if you're looking at it objectively, apparently, mostly I'm leaning on Warren for this. I don't know if it's completely true, but apparently they're not that reliable and they're hard to get parts for. It does seem like they all need trannies. That's a huge deal. There are more reliable vans that you could get. But this one, they did something with the packaging and that you can fit a lot in there, and it's a big space, and it's got a diesel motor. So, and as a car, it's not very good. It's huge, hard to park, long, handles, it handles pretty good for what it is, the one I drove. But, compared to a car, it's a terrible choice, but I kind of want one. It's almost where I want to adopt one as a commuter, but that's kind of ridiculous. So that's my answer. Curious to see what you other guys said. All right, peace.
I'd say some of us are a little more masochistic than others. Maybe some guy, who owns a C4 Corvette, ZR9, I think they call it, something like that. But there are quite a few sort of shitty cars that I would absolutely love to own. Of course, at the end of the day, I've kind of talked myself out of it, and I have for many years. Even the Chevy Typhoon pickup kind of fits into that category, I'd say. Just ridiculously rad, turbocharged V6, little early 90s sporty crossover thing that has the potential to make ridiculous power. I believe it's the same motor essentially that was in the Grand National, so that gives people an idea of what they are capable of. Renault R5 Turbo, I think, kind of fits into that category. Talk about weird, obscure, very, very limited parts availability, early 80s turbocharged technology, reliability, what's that? Pretty crappy interior, super basic interior, renowned for horrendous seats. They're literally like flat cardboard pieces with some fabric on them. I mean, of course, all that shit would be pulled out, and the interior is as basic as it gets. Very upright, kind of funky seating position. But that is not the car. I'd say the car for me is the Series 2 or Series 3 Lotus Esprit. I'm 50-50 down the line, and I only say Series 2 because one car kind of really does it for me, and it's that John Player Special Commemorative Edition they made, so it's just really sharp, clean lines before they added all the body kit stuff, and it was a car that basically celebrated the 1978 World Championship win by the Lotus team, and super cool color scheme. It's really iconic. The black with the gold wheels. The wheels are super cool. It's got some really cool gold striping on the side, JPS livery, so that's super cool. But my favorite though is the Series 3 early turbo, pre-85. So just really, really awesome 80. I mean, as 80s as it gets, right? You got the really sharp Giugiaro lines with the body kit on there, and it's just awesome looking. I really love it, and they can be fast when they're running. That's the other thing, right? Every single person I've asked that has owned one says, like, yes, it has issues, and it does break, and it's in the shop a lot, but talk about sense of occasion, right? We talk about that. Just getting into that thing is just such an experience, right? I mean, that design, that shape, and sitting super low in it, and the reaction, that you get from people, but the design just really speaks to me. I mean, those lines are just so good, and the really deep dish BBS, I think they were RAs on that those things came with, or were they Malas? I can't remember. Are just so good. So that's probably my number one, I'd say. Shitty car that I still really want. Lotus Esprit Series 3 Turbo.